It is 1:30 in the morning and I cannot sleep, so I thought I'd turn on the camera and talk to you guys. Welcome back to my spot on the internet. It's your granny here, and today I want to have a mental health talk with you guys. I think that I'm growing up in a time where mental health is definitely a discussion, which has been like such a beautiful thing to see society embrace or turn away, however some people want to take it. But I think this is a cool conversation for us to have, because when I talk to my grandpa or like my great grandma, like the talks about mental health aren't there, like they don't exist. But no matter if you're ever diagnosed with anything, you are going to be a human on this planet, and you're going to experience stressors and trauma, and you'll still have to bounce back and learn from that. So let me give you a little bit of my tea, popping high, so that hopefully you can move through the world a little bit easier and pick up on these tricks and instill these habits sooner than I have. So first, I'm going to ask, how are you? How are you doing today? Be real. Granny's gonna judge you, but she ain't gonna hold it against you. So ignore my face, excuse my face, and how I respond. My day, I'm not gonna front, I'm up right now because I am dealing with a lot of pain. Last night, my hand started to lock while I was doing my homework again, so I knew I was gonna wake up in pain. I still managed to make it to class, and I did my first open mic today at my school, so that was very beautiful. I was terrified, but it was good. It was good. I missed 2 lines and I was shaking, but I did it. So if you're scared, do it anyways. So yeah, that was my day. I finished writing an essay that I'm very passionate and proud of. I took a huge nap earlier, and I'm so tired, but I just can't fall asleep. So we're gonna have to come downstairs and take a special medicine so my body can relax, and hopefully once I'm done yapping to you guys, I can knock back out. But let's dive in. So you're human, you're gonna go through this life. Again, you're gonna experience trauma and just natural life stressors. I think anxiety and depression, those do run in your bloodline if you are genetically linked to me. But I think there is something that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about. I believe that there is a depression and anxiety that comes from living under a system that does not work for you, that is not working in your favor, and it's hard to figure out, like, what do I do with that? Because, like, I'm not driving up to the White House to knock somebody out and, like, take down capitalism. That's not how that works. So I think there's always, or not always, but if you're anything like me and you hyperfixate with politics and world events, if you're paying attention, you're going to be angry. And so yeah, I think with awareness, there does just naturally come that depression and anxiety, because what the fuck is this world? And then my next big point that I want to say to you guys, regardless of your diagnosis or the label that the world gives you, regardless of that, depending on what you're going through, you're not always going to have control of your actions. But to some degree, you do have control over how you respond. And you have to take responsibility for how you have made people feel, no matter what's going on inside of here. You are not allowed to tell people whether or not you hurt them. If somebody says that you did, if somebody says that you crossed a boundary, that somebody says you made them feel uncomfortable, that is your truth that you must honor, okay? Okay. Alright. So now that the basics are all out of the way, your granny, I am 23 years old right now, and my official mental health diagnosis is I have BPD, which is borderline personality disorder, which is basically just summed up a lot of freaking trauma, and it's caused my brain and my personality to change because of that. I also suffer with CPTSD, which I think is silly that I have like the double diagnosis. I understand because they do like coexist together, but like low-key CPTSD is just BPD with the list of symptoms. I think I'm gonna make a separate video about like my mental health journey, because my mental health and my physical health have been so intertwined together, and the medical system has mishandled and misdiagnosed me, so that could be like a whole nother 30-minute conversation. So I'll save that for another time. But I think the main thing that I want to give to you guys in this video is my tools for how I am okay as well as I can be, and how I get through my days, because she be loud sometimes, and it's taken me 23 years to get to this point, and I'm very proud of how I carry myself in this world. I think that I could have easily been a bitter little jaded bitch. I could easily be spewing hate into the world. I could make everyone feel the pain that I feel in my body. I could amplify that energy. But I actively choose not to. I think my personality, I think I'm just naturally a happy person. And I also think because of the little demons that I've met, encountered, I don't know what anybody else is going through. I don't know what their home life is. I don't know the relationships that they have. So for me and what makes me feel best, I have to be love and light. I think my purpose in this world is to love and laugh. So I want to put as much of that energy out as possible, because I think there's enough darkness out there and I don't want to contribute to that as much as I possibly can. So with that, Granny loves you, whether you were genetically mine, whether I foster or adopt you into our coven. Yeah, you could be a little Taiwanese baby boy, you could be a Hispanic teenager. I'm gonna love you, and you are part of the tribe, okay? Yeah, you're part of the tribe, and you're gonna come with your own unique gifts in this world too. I think it was Plato who like compared humans to the three metals and was like, we all come into the world and we have to like figure out what we're made of and then use that to like help give back to the world or whatever. I'm pretty sure that was his philosophy. But yeah, you're unique. You're part of me. So with that, I hope it gives you power. And I say all of that because my next part, respectfully, baby girl, baby boy, you are not special. I think something about mental health, if you are struggling, it can be so fucking isolating. It can freeze you in your tracks. You feel like there is something wrong with you. You don't know what's happening. I know that I was afraid of some of the things that my mind would tell me or think a lot of the times, or just like the rabbit holes of rumination that I used to go down. But what gave me a little bit of power and a little bit of strength was like, there are 8 billion people in this world. There's probably going to be more by the time that you guys get here. I'm not unique. I'm a combination of every single woman that I've ever met. I'm a mosaic. And with that, I know that maybe somebody is not having the exact experience that I'm having, but somebody has also felt heartbreak. Somebody has also felt shame. Somebody has felt out of control. So that is what I mean by that. You were not special. You were a part of this animal kingdom. There are people walking this life with you. So hold on to that. Listen to the music. View the art. Watch the film. And just feel connected to that. So with that said, some of the things that I have learned. I want to talk to you about the tools that I have in my toolbox, but I'm first going to address this important factor because I think that Granny's been in and out of therapy since I was 4 or 5 years old, but I think that even though I had those beautiful resources, not a lot of the tools clicked for me because I was not aware of this, and that is your connection to your self-worth. What your self-worth is you can believe whatever you want to believe, your denomination, your God or your gods. You can be an atheist if you want. But I believe in my bones, I come from love, I will return to love, and that's your self-worth. You come into this world perfect. You are whole. There is nothing missing from you, okay? Your connection to your self-worth, however, is going to change and vary throughout your life. And yeah, I guess just life happened and I was not connected to that at all. Also something, the BPD and the CPTSD, those are very trauma-based illnesses. So what that means, when you have trauma, and I wish I knew this sooner, I think that my head, especially like at a younger age, I was just like, I'm just a girl, I have body dysmorphia. Like, of course I don't like what I see in the mirror. But it was a little bit deeper than I didn't like what I saw in the mirror. I didn't recognize what I saw in the mirror. And that's very trauma connected. When you have trauma and your brain has gone through all of that, it's hard for you to identify with your reflection. So that can be an indicator or a sign or like a little trigger that you may identify with later. But connecting to my self-worth, I remember when I was in an outpatient program, they did this with us, and I think it's the moment that it clicked and I was like, oh, like I know how I should move forward now. But for me, they printed out like, I think it was like 100 different words, and they wanted us to order them. It was values, and they wanted us to order them by what we valued most. And so we all just sat there in silence with a little like calm music playing, and we looked at all these words and we picked out what it was important to us and what we valued. And I think connecting back to my values connected me back to my self-worth, and making sure that I was doing things that aligned with those values kept me on that trajectory. Yeah. So another big thing is I had to release the shame and guilt from my body in order to fully connect to my self-worth again. And I want to stress this because I didn't know the difference. Maybe you will, but I did not. You feel guilty when you've done something bad. And I'm going to feel guilty again in my life. I'm going to feel shame again in my life. When you feel shame, however, that is your mind saying that you are bad. Not just what you did is bad, but that you are inherently bad. And I think Granny's had to deal with some trauma, and some of that is SA related. So I know that that kind of just warped my perception of self quite a bit. I also struggle with a chronic illness, and I do believe in karma to a degree, so I just really thought, I was like, damn, I must have been a fucking asshole in a past life. But I've kind of shaken that, and I'm like, love and light, love and light. Again, I am love. I will return to love. I'm okay. I've done bad things. I've been a very shitty person. I've destroyed friendships due to my mental illness, and I fully own that. And I'm also, it hurt, but I am okay. And I'm honestly proud of one friend in particular I'm thinking of for choosing to remove himself from my life. Because I was not being a healthy friend. I was not being fair. And I have to honor and respect that I hurt him, and he's allowed to leave. So yeah, I had to release that shame and that guilt, and that brought me back to my connection with my self-worth, because again, it never left. I just did. And before we move on to the tools that I keep in my box, I think it's very important that whether you're diagnosed with a mental illness or not, there's going to be things in life that trigger you. I know at certain points in my life, my relationship with my parents have been a trigger. I have some abandonment issues, so if I like used to get left on red, that would like make my system go crazy. Certain comments would send me through the roof. And to also look out for warning signs. It's kind of ironic, I'm up at almost 2 o'clock in the morning right now, but one of my big warning signs that I might dip again is sleep. I try to keep to a pretty strict sleep schedule, but you know, shit happens. But I know if I'm like consistently like, I mentally can't sleep, because right now I physically can't sleep, so tired. But if I mentally can't get myself to sleep, if my appetite starts to change very drastically, I was gonna say if my spending habits go crazy, but I've never really had a problem with that. Like, I can be like a little impulsive, or I can be impulsive, but when it comes to spending and money, I'm a frugal bitch, so I don't really struggle with that one. But sometimes like spending habits or Or if I start eloping, that's a good one, which is basically like, I don't know why, but I just need to escape my like safe spot, like home. Like I can't be there. Like I'll just drive around in circles. Like I can't return to the location. And I'm like, oh, maybe we should address the underlying things. But those are some of my triggers and warning signs. Yours are going to be different. So the sooner you identify those, the easier, or the sooner you're going to be able to use these tools or know when to use them. And now the tools in my little toolbox. So I have this listed as like routine/systems. I do think I'm type A. Like I love me a color-coded calendar. I have to take notes all of the time. Yeah, I'm very like, I've been told that when I talk, sometimes it sounds like I'm giving a PowerPoint presentation, and that's like even when I don't have notes. So I equate that to being type A. I don't know. But with that said, routine is still kind of difficult for me. I don't know if that's like my silly little mind or if it is because I do live with a chronic condition. So like I don't know how I'm going to be day to day. But what I like to have in place is like systems for myself. So I know that like whether I'm waking up at 5 o'clock or getting up at 8, when I do get up, I prefer to move my body in some form of capacity, whether I'm going to go to a workout class or just do cardio or just like stretch. I like to move my body when I first get up. It as I wake up and them demons be swinging. But even as like a countermeasure, to make sure I get that like endorphin boost before I start my day. Yeah, I like to move my body. It helps ground me. So I do that. I do my little skincare routine. I get dressed and I like to go about my day. My wind down routine at night is very important for me. Obviously, it didn't work tonight, but that's okay. It tried, and it helped me with my first big nap. I'm just in pain. But anyways, my wind down routine. So lately I've been showering at night, but that's also because I'm not going to the gym as much in the morning. But anyways, I'm showering at night. I always light a candle or an incense, typically a candle because mamas don't like incense. What else do I do? I love a cup of tea before bed. And I like to wind down like from my social medias. I haven't honestly been as good with that lately, so maybe I should get back into that. But I did have to finish an essay before I like wanted to shut down again. So yeah, kind of just having like little systems in place. I'm also going to add this in here now. Yeah, I'm going to add this in here now because this is another form of a system as well. So again, Granny deals with some trauma. I think it was like 3 weeks ago, and I've tried to record this video for you guys before, but I don't know, it just didn't flow right. And I don't like to over edit my videos. I want to keep the authenticity for y'all. But it was like 2.5, 3 weeks ago. I had a flashback, and you may have like, I hope you never experience a flashback, but you might experience panic attacks. You might experience just being overly anxious as well. But basically, for me, my flashback was a flashback of an essay that happened to me. And when you have a flashback, you get like chucked back to where you were. Visually, I could see the ceiling. I can see the flickering of the lights. I can observe what's going on around me. I'm so grateful for the amount of money that me and my parents have spent on fucking therapy. Me and my mama and my papa, I should say. No shade, but just to keep it real. Yeah, so I get visuals. I'm grateful for the therapy that I've gotten because I can shut the visuals down. It like low-key looks like a TV shutting off, like whoop. So I can shut that down. I hate this part, but I feel it happening on my body. But I was smart enough this time, or not even smart enough, but I was aware enough this time that what I did, I immediately went to my room, I shut off the lights, I get into like a ball position. I'll either go like this or rub my collarbone. I don't know why. That's like a little soothing thing for me. But I did that, and I literally just held myself, and I told myself once I got the visual gone, I was like, you are safe. This is not happening now. No one is hurting you. And so I literally had to sit there, and I said that probably about 20 times until I could like catch my breath. I was still feeling it in my body though, so like one thing that I've learned is when you can't get out of your head, move your body. So I did like 20 push-ups until I collapsed and I couldn't do it anymore, and I was like, okay, the flashback is over, you were back. And I think another thing I'll say about trauma as well that I learned that really helped me when I learned this, and it honestly really made sense to me when I learned this, but trauma is not so much the thing that happened to you, but more so how the people in your community around you react to the event. And I don't know, I just thought that was such, like, it hit, like, that's so for real. So with that, I think the most important thing to do after you experience a heightened state of your nervous system, be gentle to yourself. This is one of my most important systems. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace. I used to be my own biggest freaking bully, and I can't believe the negative amount of self-talk that I used to have. But I recognized what had happened, and I knew that I just needed to pour back into my cup and give myself love. One of the systems, like if I have an overwhelmed day or if I'm like experiencing a shutdown, I love water. So I turn off all the lights and I'll take a shower in the complete dark, or sometimes I'll just sit on the bathroom floor, or not the bathroom floor, the shower floor, and just let the water like cleanse me away. I did not have the energy to do that after this last flashback. I was so drained and so tired. So instead I made a cup of my favorite tea. Right now it is mint blueberry green tea. But should be buzzing with some honey in it. And I made that, and then I went into the basement that I'm currently in now, and I got my big blankets, and I just burritoed myself with my cup of tea. I can't remember if I put on Avatar: The Last Airbender or Mulan. I think it was, yeah, I went on Disney Plus. It was Mulan. And I just curled up in a ball, and I put on my movie, and I played Sudoku and Spider Solitaire until I was like, okay. And it was nice. That like calmed me down enough where I could like process my thoughts then into a little poem. So yeah, that's one of your grandma's biggest systems that she uses for herself. Just making sure that I'm kind and I'm gentle to myself, because a lot of bad shit has happened, and I deserve that. I deserve to treat myself kindly. So, and I think also having routines or systems in place when you're living with a chaotic mind, it's a lot easier to fall back into your systems and into your routine if something goes wrong when you've got that in place. Because I can have an episode at this time, but oh, I know I need to, I don't know, make dinner here or go to the gym here, and like you can continue and fall back in line, I guess. I put next, coping mechanisms. I don't really know what I meant by this. Like, I know what a coping mechanism is. I guess I'll share mine. Your grandma's a writer. I love to write. I think that helps me process so freaking much. Lately, I was very impressed with myself. I think it was last Friday. I was so upset with this coworker. Like, I had to walk out of the building upset. And I was like, you know what? I could go and I could be a little druggy. When I say druggy, like, I'm talking about marijuana. Like, I'm not bad. Your grandma does not have that dog in her. But I was like, I could be obliterated right now. I could yell. I could yada yada. I honestly wanted a drink, but I'm trying to live that Cali sober life right now. But instead, I got home. I vented in a healthy manner to some homies. And then I went outside and I put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and I just roller skated for like a good hour and a half until I got that out of my system. So yeah, the gym has also been a huge coping mechanism for me, and that's helped with my anxiety a lot too. I think that especially having a chronic illness and going to the gym was like so much more terrifying. But I've been in there a few times with my cane now, and I think the biggest thing, even like without my cane at the gym, nobody's paying attention to you. Like, again, like, I love you grandbabies, but like, you're not special. People are doing their own thing for the most part, and yeah, nobody is really peeping you. And a lot of the times, if they are, they're not gonna say anything. So let them judge you if they do. Like, just proceed. So don't worry. And I say that so easily now, but that literally took me like 2 years to like get down. and before that, it was still a journey. Before I was like, okay, I know this, but yeah. And then I think the biggest thing in my toolbox, to be completely honest, I think this one feeds my soul so much, and you may be so different, but even if you are different than me, everybody needs this. It's your community. I think that I've struggled with maintaining friendships in my life. I love my family, but I come from a very eccentric family, to say the least, I guess. So yeah, just like consistency in relationships wasn't always a thing for me. So pouring myself back into community, especially mental illness, is isolating. Having a physical chronic condition is very isolating. Not all of my school academic life has been that successful, so that was also isolating as well. So making sure that I put myself back in the narrative and put my soul in the game and was a community member again. And I'll say this too, because I didn't know this for a long time. You can't say that you're a part of the community if all you're doing is giving or taking. You have to do both. And as a former people pleaser, make myself smaller, I already feel like a burden type gal, I would really just pour and pour and pour. But it clicked for me when I started to pour, but then also started to drink from the well as well. Yeah, I think the way that it was explained to me is the community is a circle. And if you're just pouring or if you're just taking, you're not a part of the circle. So there's a visual for you. But Granny lived through the COVID pandemic, so the world shut down. And I think that was another huge big push on why we're talking about mental health now, because we were in isolation. It forced all of us to go through that together as a collective. So we had to talk about it, and we had to talk about like, damn, I missed you. And even like for me, like my community is my people at the gym that I see in the morning. Even if I don't say anything to anybody that day, I know that my presence is felt when it's not there. Larry will fucking yell at my ass if I walk in after 5 days and miss him. I joined a club at my school, so I know if I'm not there. I've got friends at school. I have friends that I communicate with more now, and they check in. And just being a part of that, yeah, it makes the world go around. You gotta show up. You gotta connect. At the end of the day, we're still animals. We need that. We're not solitary creatures. So I think that's all I had to say to you guys. But to sum it all up, you're gonna experience your own form of mental health struggle throughout this lifetime. But I hope that you take these tools that I've given you and take the advice that I've said on self-worth and hold that dear to your heart. You're gonna lose your way. You're gonna be on that little broken path, especially like in your teens. I wish I wilded out more in my teens, to be completely honest. I wish I could have. So your parents might hate me for that, but I'm gonna push you to be a little bit rebellious, especially coming from me. Yeah, your 20s are supposed to be messy. I'm still like a baby in my 20s. I'm only a 3-year-old in my 20s. That's so funny. Yeah, but these are supposed to be my messy years. I'm supposed to be figuring it out. I'm supposed to be selfish in these years. So we're all gonna go through some ups and downs, but now you know. Don't ever lose sight of your self-worth. Don't ever lose that connection. And when you are going through just life, this silly little thing that we're all thrown into, have those systems in place. Know your coping mechanisms to push through and hold you down. And never forget your community and where you came from, whether that is friends, family, book club, theater, the gym, your basketball. You have people. People are looking at you. History has its eyes on you always. So that's it for tonight. Granny's gonna take her medicine and go to bed now. I love you so much, and I can't wait to meet you guys. But anyways, I love you so much. Bye.